Welcome back, everyone, and this is Sheepdog Smokey. I have a bit of a good news story here. Unplanned director reveals large number of abortion workers wanting to leave the field after seeing the film. The co-director and writer of Unplanned told a Senate panel on Wednesday that since the film's release, nearly 100 abortion industry workers have expressed interest in leaving the field. The PureFlix distributed movie Unplanned tells the story of Abby Johnson, a former Planned Parenthood clinic director who has become an influential pro-life advocate. Co-director and co-writer Chuck Konzelman testified before a Senate Judiciary Subcommittee. The film has overcome many marketing challenges, particularly in terms of being permitted to place ads, and is having a profound impact. We have had approaches through Abby Johnson's organization, and then there were none, which transitions workers out of the abortion industry. I believe we have something approaching 1% of the abortion workers in the U.S. seeking to leave the industry, he told the subcommittee on the Constitution, Chairman Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, who was overseeing a hearing examining how much tech companies are stifling free speech. The actual number of workers who have reached out is 94, Konzelman added. The filmmaker told the senators that Unplanned managed to come in at number 4 at the box office in its opening weekend, though it was blocked from advertising on multiple platforms. The MPAA saddled us with an R rating, which strongly discourages much of the Christian audience and all of the Church of Latter day Saints from seeing our film, since they have a general prohibition against seeing R-rated films, said Konzelman. See the video above starting at 2:34:09. I will be posting the link. He explained a profound marketing impact of the rating was only being able to screen the trailer for the film ahead of other R-rated movies in theaters. The MPAA can grant a waiver to this rule, but it refused to do so. Konzelman noted that previews shown in movie theaters are the single best form of advertisement. Beside this roadblock, Fox News and the Christian Broadcasting Network were the only two cable outlets that allowed the Unplanned marketing team to place television ads. Hallmark, UpTV, Lifetime, HGTV, the Travel Channel, and USA Network all denied placement. Additionally, Google Ads, the single largest online ad placement provider, prohibited Unplanned from purchasing spots. Further, Twitter suspended the movie's account for multiple hours during the Saturday of its opening weekend. When Twitter did reinstate the account, the number of followers dropped from approximately 200,000 to less than 200, according to Konzelman. I can tell you, I was one of those that was dropped. I was following the movie from pretty much a week after the Twitter account went live because I knew this movie was going to have an impact. When I saw it was gone, of course, I tweeted about it. When it came back, I wasn't following it all of a sudden. The director did give credit to Facebook for allowing his film to be promoted on the platform, where the trailer has garnered over 17 million views. Konzelman warned the Unplanned experience shows just how vulnerable the right is to exercise free speech during the digital era. It is all too easy for tech companies to label conservative thought as controversial or divisive, dismiss it as contrary to their guidelines, or roll out the dreaded phrase hate speech, he argued. In the digital age, exclusion from a platform is not just discriminatory, it's the most insidious form of censorship available or imaginable. This one, it didn't surprise me, honestly. I saw what happened with God's Not Dead, God's Not Dead 2, and God's Not Dead, A Light in the Darkness. All of them had hurdles. Now, those three did not face near the hurdles that Unplanned did because, of course, the God's Not Dead trilogy was addressing a very well-known subject, as it was all over the news anytime it happened. A teacher dares to even mention the name of Jesus while on campus, or just to a student, and they are suddenly the most evil bigot on the planet because they are proselytizing. And this one teacher happened to be able to sue and win. And then we had the second one, where the pastor was forced, or they tried to force him, to surrender all of his sermon notes, and he refused and went to jail. Then the third one, where it dealt with a school removing a church. All of these are based on, some of them more loosely than others, real events. And you'll notice that you didn't see many advertisements for God's Not Dead unless it was at a venue where they were very closely tied to a church or during a very conservative program. Because, of course, Fox News and CNN and ABC and Hallmark can sign agreements that they will provide a certain amount of airtime for a movie or product, but so can actual shows and publications. So while ABC may not have advertise or purchased advertising or sold advertising space for God's Not Dead or any of these others, Last Man Standing could. And ABC can't tell Last Man Standing, we're not running that ad for you. But they can make Last Man Standing's life a living hell, which they did until it moved to Fox. But this one was more blatant and more open. Instead of just not taking money to advertise, they were specifically barred. The MPAA gave it an R rating, despite no nudity, from what I hear, no swearing, no violence, none of the things that garner a movie an R rating. But it was an R rating nonetheless, which the MPAA had to know would affect the outcome of the movie. Parents may not want their children to see it. They may figure, yes, this is a very sensitive topic that we need to discuss because we are pro life, but this is an R rated movie. I don't want my kids seeing that. They also knew that none of the qualifiers for an R rating were present in the movie, but they refused to grant any waivers to give a green band trailer. For those of you who don't know, there are green and red band trailers. And when you see them in the movie, it will be the literal color behind the MPAA statement. Many of you may have seen the green band trailers for Deadpool or for any other number of movies that have come out and ended up being rated R. And they're very tamed down. They're normally shorter. The clips shown don't include swearing or graphic violence or nudity or anything else. The red band trailers are allowed to play in front of R-rated movies. And while they are still toned down from the movie, they can give a truer picture of what the movie will be. If you want to see it for yourself, simply go onto YouTube and search for any R-rated movie you want. Deadpool. I can't really think of any others that I've even heard of lately, but any R-rated movie that's either recently come out or is coming out. Use the movie's title and red band or green band trailer. Watch them both and look for the difference. Then watch the unplanned trailer. They only allowed one. And tell me if it's not about equal to the green band for any other movie you saw. Think about the effect of Twitter, from 6 figures to 3 figures in a day on their followers. The Saturday of opening weekend, arguably the biggest actual full day of release, because of course Friday it might be a school day, people are still working. Saturday, the vast majority of people have the day off and go see movies. They perhaps see it during a matinee, then go to dinner. But because Twitter took them down, they weren't getting the exposure. And people who might look at Twitter while they're being driven around or while they're at lunch or whatnot, they're going to see other Twitter accounts, but not unplanned. And this is the same theory as people who set up signs for polling places and for elections. If you'll ever notice, the probably at least half, if not a larger percent majority of the candidates on a ticket when you go to a general election in a full year, so 2016, 2018, 2020. Of course, you know who's running for president, who's running for your senators, who's running for your representative, but there are so many other names on there. I live in Texas, and we elect Supreme Court justices for the state Supreme Court, our railroad commissioner, direct election of all three, the attorney general, the governor, and lieutenant governor. There are a lot of names on that. We have county commissioners and so many others. And while I am one of the stranger animals that I do actually go look up who I am able to vote for in a given election, and I look at all of the people, and I decide who I'm going to vote for. There are a lot of people who really only focus on the big ones. 2016 for example, they would have made sure to know that it was Trump versus Hillary. They would have made sure to know it was Greg Abbott and Ken Paxton running for certain things. They would have known the big ones, but they didn't really know who the others were. So if you look when you go into a polling place, you'll see signs everywhere, up to a certain point, of course, because you can't have them too close. But it's very clear that this person is Republican, this person is Democrat, this person is independent, and their name is in very large print. Because if you see the name, and a lot of people are returning to voting all but straight ticket. But if you see the name and it has very clearly the blue or the red, you're going to figure, oh, that's one person, that's somebody I want to vote for. And the name, because you're walking in and you're not going to be there hopefully too long, the name will stick. And when you're looking at your ballot, oh, I remember that name. That's who I wanted to vote for. The same is true for any product being marketed. The more you see that name of that product, the more likely you are when making a decision to go, oh, yeah, I want that one. It's just psychology. With the exception of my dental care products, because I do have some sensitive teeth that at my age are starting to get worse. So I use a very specific toothpaste and mouthwash. But that's really it. When I'm looking for other things for my home, I have found myself grabbing a different brand than normal. And it's only because I've probably seen or heard that name in an advertisement very recently. This is true for this. By suspending this Twitter account on the largest day for movies that week, Unplanned was unfairly impacted because the people who see the ads constantly, and at that point, really all they had was Facebook, the other people who aren't looking at Facebook are going to see something else. Yet Unplanned came in fourth overall for the weekend. I see it as just an omen, and it's an omen I like. We're starting to see people reject the mentality of, oh, well, no, it's fine. Have all the sex you want. You can just abort your baby. We have stories where abortion workers are told don't refer to the mother as mother or the child as a child or baby. It's fetus or it's clump of cells and it's patient because they have to dehumanize everything. And where they can't, they attack. And when it fails, they quietly try to undo. But even in that, Twitter quietly tried to reinstate the account, but they still took away over 199,000 followers of the account. Again, myself included. And so far, nothing's happening. Now, I agree with Dana Lash and what she actually said. I don't like big government. I like small government, which does mean less regulations. But when a company is blatantly censoring and being basically a pawn of one political ideology, that company needs to have some repercussions. Now, I don't know. I don't know from her statement what Dana believes those are. Those are her thoughts. I know what I believe it should be. It should start with the free market. I've said before, and I'll say again, I've not actually seen a movie that I have myself paid for in over 3 years. The last, I know I'll amend that. I have seen exactly one movie that I myself paid for in 3 years. The one I paid for was Death of a Nation by Dinesh D'Souza. It took my parents as a gift. The other two that I saw were Ant-Man and the Wasp and Aquaman. Both of these I saw because I was given a gift certificate by my sister for movie tickets. She knows I like comic book movies and she knew they'd be coming out. I was not about to try to regift or sell those because it would get back to her. Our circle of friends is actually pretty well mingled. And she gave me a gift and I used it. But that's the only three movies I've seen in 3 years. If more people do that, Hollywood will start realizing we're pissing off our money. We're telling people we don't want to make money. I don't watch a lot of television. I watch typically the Channel 8 news because I like our weatherman. And once he's done, I turn it off. I watch American Ninja Warrior when it's there. And I might watch the finals of The Voice or AGT just to see what new talent is out there. And of course, I do enjoy the TV show Lucifer. It's an infinitesimal thing, but I'm going to see Unplanned. Vote with your money. Now, there are times that won't work. Twitter does need to answer for why they decided that they would suspend the account for Unplanned on the largest viewing day of the release week. And when they reinstated, where the 199,800 some odd followers were. Jack Dorsey has a lot of questions to answer and for a lot of things. But I've talked long enough. Let me know what your thoughts are. As always, keep it classy, keep it civil. We don't learn from arguments, we learn from debate. And as always, please like the video and hit the subscribe button and ring notification bell so that you're the first to know of any new content posted. I do have the Monday through Friday 4s and 10s. Weekends are going to be some feast, some famine, because I have some weekends I'll be with my family or with friends doing other things. Other weekends, especially if it decides to storm like mad here in Texas, I'll probably sit home and do this. But until next time, everyone, have a wonderful day.